Okay, so I decided to make a quick video on the mortar consistency that I use for building a block wall with mortar. This is not a dry wall. It's kind of built a little bit like it, but it uses the same principles of 2 rocks on one rock on 2, and try not to, try to stagger your seams as much as you can. Like you can see, that rock. The rock above it is staggering that rock, and that rock. And, well, I guess it looks like this rock is on that joint. But, and so is that. I guess there's a joint there too. Well, do as I say, don't do as I do, I guess. I found, or actually no. I think, yeah, that's 2 separate rocks. Okay, it's not one single rock. But anyhow, the rule of thumb is 1 on 2 and 2 on 1. You try your best to stagger your joints. As in here, I will obviously build this up a little bit and have a rock going from here to here. And then, because I have a rock going from here to here, I'll obviously have a rock going from here to here, and constant. It's not rocket science. It's rock science, not rocket science. Okay, back to this part of the video. You want consistency like that. Okay, so that it'll stick. You want to be able to put that on your rock and around your rocks, and on top of rocks, so that you can stick it on. Well, I guess some of it didn't get mixed in, but that ain't a big deal. But you want to be able to put that on top of a rock and sit another rock on top of that, and you want to be able to support that rock. And then when it does dry, then it's going to make a good bond between the bottom rock and the top rock that you're placing on top of it. So I'll turn it on so you can kind of see the consistency of it. Now what I do is I put 2 buckets of sand, or actually the other bucket is over there. I use 2 buckets the same size. I have 2 buckets of sand and 1 bucket of Portland. Now that doesn't take up a whole bag. But what you do is you mix that up and you add your water. I don't measure the water, I just add it with the hose. And you add your water, but it's kind of funny. Even when you don't think there's enough water, you have to mix it after you put the last of your Portland in there, because the Portland, it creates a chemical reaction, and it seems to suck some of the moisture off of the sand, and you'll find that your mixture will get wet, even though it didn't look like it was going to be wet when you were mixing it. So it's always good to have some sand in reserve in case your mixture is too wet. That you can put more sand in it to get the consistency you want. Because you don't want it too wet. You want a good consistency. I'm stepping back here so I can talk because that thing's quite loud. But that's kind of the consistency you're looking for. Another tip is let your mixture mix for at least 10 minutes. You want the mixture to be completely mixed with the sand and the Portland. You don't want some parts of it that's more sand and some parts that have obviously more Portland or wetter. So what I do is I let it mix for 10 minutes straight. I just let it sit there and mix. That way there it's constantly mixing, and hopefully it's oh, the foolish thing got away. And it's mixing. The whole idea is for 10 minutes it's mixing, and that's the best I can do. It's mixing for 10 minutes. And I suggest other people do the same. Now, after it's mixed, I put it in the tub and I'll let it sit for 15 minutes. I let it sit there just, I guess, to take the moisture or whatever that's in the mortar. And anyway, I heard on a YouTube that it's good to let it sit for 15 minutes. I do that and it works great for me. So those are some tips. I don't want to make this too long. Actually, it's 7 minutes already. It's longer than it should be. So I hope this helps somebody out. And if I get 20 comments, I'll show a mixture. Cheers.